To spark quite an interesting little bit of discussion here. The Copernicus program, obviously of great interest to everybody, and I think more so now, more than ever, Dr. Solidum, in light of recent activities, how helpful really was the information and data that we were able to receive from Copernicus in monitoring recent developments. Most recently, of course, the Taal volcano eruption. Would you like to give us an idea?
Well, satellite images can be used to monitor any Earth changes, and for the Department of Science and Technology and on the geological processes, we use this to monitor the processes on volcanoes, on faults, and many other things. And in particular for Taal volcano, we have to combine space images with ground-based observation to firm up and have a conceptual framework of what's happening below the volcano. We knew that during the eruptions, so we knew that new magma is coming from below, and based on satellite images, we knew that it's coming from the southwest and also confirmed by our earthquake monitoring. And it's interesting to see that people were astonished when Taal Lake dropped by a few tens of centimeters, but essentially the magma pushed up the area and stretched the land, so the water has to go down. And you can actually see a better view using satellite images, but of course we knew that already using our ground-based observation. So our conceptual model was firmed up by the combination of ground-based observation. And once you have a very good conceptual model, you have a very good way of anticipating what can happen and to explain what's happening to the public and to the local government. And we used many satellite images, including Sentinel.
Right. I think that's a very clear case of a very specific example. As Mr. Brunei was saying, you know, what started as a very Europe-centric observation service really sort of took a step backwards and became a much more global concern, and can be very much tailored to very specific requirements of each end user. In this particular case, VIVOL's Department of Science and Technology. So I think one of the questions, obviously, that sort of rise from that is, do we have the capacity to process this much data here in the Philippines? On that note, perhaps we can talk about the elements in Philippine policy. I assume there's a certain, how would you say, reciprocity. You know, we receive this data which is made available to us. We process it in a certain way, and of course there's benefit for everybody across the board as the data is would you say, processed in a certain way. Do we have the capability to process this huge amount of data, and what are some of the elements in Philippine policy that will make this information of benefit to everybody?
Innovation is at the forefront of our policy, and we must make sure that these results are applied so that the people can benefit. And we also need to make sure that what we learn can be shared to others. And so, if you look back at the remote sensing history of the Philippines, way back in the 80s, there was a national remote sensing center in Namria, or DNR. But it's still there, but the capacity has died down a little bit because of the fact that technology advancement is so fast. And so if your question is about processing, yes, there can be some processing capabilities at the various organizations, especially the Department of Science and Technology. But with recent technologies, we need to do more capacity building. That is why in the mentioned project that we are working on with EU, capacity building is very important. But there are many opportunities, and the fact that the government has approved the Philippine Space Agency would really tell the whole world that we are serious in using space and apply it in so many fields. And so the reciprocity in terms of doing things and sharing with our partners is also a given. We have been doing partnerships with many other space agencies, and some of these will be led by DOST-STII agencies. And this is the same thing that we want to achieve with the Copernicus program of EU.
Right. I think it's quite interesting that, you know, despite the fact that we've got purpose-built for the program, Sentinel satellites in space, exciting stuff. Looks like we've got a lot to look forward to in terms of developments there, and we're looking forward to hearing a little bit more on that subject. Ma'am Anita, perhaps in closing...
I think there's a need to really elaborate on the wide applications of these, and even pursue a lot of collaborations and partnerships from government, from academia, research sector, even private sector, and local governments. We would like to look forward to a lot of applications in this regard.
Yes, and I think we've seen very much of late concrete examples of just how useful this information can be. We started with you, Dr. Solidum. Perhaps we can wrap up our panel session with you. A final statement, perhaps, on what we've discussed.
Well, as mentioned, our goal at the Department of Science and Technology is to convert science, technology, and innovation for the people. And we have seen and heard that Copernicus is for the people as well, but global. What we need to do here is a governance mechanism where we can actually integrate all the efforts of government, private sector, and the local government and the public. I think we're going there, but with the advancement in technology, we need to catch up in certain things, and that's the challenge on how to pick out what is important for us so that we can help as many people as possible.
Absolutely, well said. There is so much information, so much data there. It really is a question of making the most out of what is important to you. I'd like to say thank you very much to our experts who have joined us today. Dr. Renato Solidum from the Disaster Risk Reduction and Climate Change Adaptation Department of Science and Technology, Undersecretary. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much. Ma'am Elenita Basug, Director of Climate Change Service, DNR. Of course, Mr. Stephen Coulson of the European Space Agency, and Mr. Philippe Brunet, European Commission Directorate for Cooperation and Development. Thank you so much, sirs, ma'am.